Hi guys. So I met my husband online almost 17 years ago. Yes, you heard me right. Almost 17 years ago. And some of you may be wanting to do mathematics. Yes, I actually met him almost 17 years ago. And we have now been married for 12 years. So we had a long distance relationship of about 5 good years. Yes. But what attracted me to this wonderful man in the first place? Yes, find out very soon because I'm going to share with you 5 things that attracted me to my husband. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. You must have noticed the name change, the confident woman, because that's who I am, and that's what I'm hoping that you're going to be if you're a woman watching me. Yes, I'm going to be sharing lots of messages about myself, lots of things about myself to help other women, other singles, wherever you are in your life, singles, married, divorced, complicated, whatever it is. Yes, this is the channel to hook onto, yeah, because you're going to be learning a lot from me. So let's get right into it. Before we go in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Also let me know what you have learned from this video. Thank you. So I'll get right into it. 5 things that attracted me to my husband. Right, so like I said, we met online through a mutual friend. But I think number one thing that attracted to me, so not in any particular order, but the first thing that attracted to me was the fact that he was clear about what he wanted. Right, I like the fact that my husband knew what he wanted. So the very first day I spoke with him, or spoke to him, it was on phone, and that friend of mine had contacted or sort of brought us together. So I spoke to my friend first of all, a male friend, and then he passed the phone to my husband, who was his friend. And then my husband said something that intrigued me. So he knew that he wanted marriage, and he was clear that whatever relationship was going to get into was going to be a marriage. So, and he just told me that he's looking for, he has plans to get married, and that's where he's headed, is in that direction, and he's wanting to get to know me, and we'll see where this goes. So that gave me an inclination that this was not a guy that was just wanting to play around. It wasn't a guy that was looking for a fling or a girlfriend, or just someone to waste her time. So it gave me an inclination that this guy is serious minded. And that aligned with what I wanted for myself also at the time. I was looking for someone who I was going to get married to, even though I was still quite young then, but I wasn't interested in getting into a relationship or getting into multiple relationships before I get married. I wanted to get into one relationship that will lead to marriage. So I was grateful that I met a guy who had such ideas or such desires. I was like, if this guy is wanting marriage and I desire marriage, so we click, right? Yeah, so that's the number one thing, one of the things that attracted me, and that was the day one actually, the first day I had contact with this guy. So that attracted me to him. That's number one. Now, the second thing that attracted me to my husband was his vulnerability. Yes, vulnerability. And why do I say that? I remember when we were chatting then, I don't know if some of you know, like we had like Yahoo Messenger, and we used to spend a lot of time at night talking on Yahoo Messenger then. But what, he showed his vulnerable side to me in the sense that he was able to tell me about his past. I didn't ask him to tell me these things, but he just sort of opened up to me, and it came naturally. He told me about his past relationships, so I wasn't seeing, it didn't come from an angle where he sort of portrayed like he was a saint. Some people, they try to portray like 100% perfect. He was able to let me know of his faults, things that how he had gotten some relationships wrong, and how he had done some things that he wasn't proud of. And just that vulnerability spoke a lot to me. It made me feel like, oh, this guy is someone that I could trust. There are many men today who pretend to be who they are not, just to win the heart of the girl. They try to buy your love, or just get your attention or affection or whatever it is, by the sweet talk. But I realized that the man I was sort of like getting to know was someone who was not trying to paint a perfect picture of himself. It was someone who was just sort of down to earth, and that vulnerable side of him made me feel, oh my god, this guy, I can trust him. I felt that was so sweet, that he could commit his past mistakes. You know, he could tell me, and it was now up to me whether or not I was going to accept him or say no. Like, you know what, no, I'm not, I've heard this, I'm not going to have anything to do with you again. So that's endeared me to him, and I was like, I like this guy, I'm attracted to this guy. Yeah, so that was number two for me. Yeah, I like the vulnerability. I could trust him. It means that if he does make mistake in the future, it's someone that I could trust. So I'm just telling you about what attracted me to him. That's number two. The third thing that attracted me to him was the fact that he was a child of God, he was born again, and also that he was willing to see me grow spiritually. So while we were still friends, sort of getting to know each other, I got to know that this wonderful man was born again, was a child of God, and he was committed to God. So not just that he was going to church or he was playing the keyboard or something. No, he was someone who had a relationship with God. And I remember then he would ask me, oh, what did you study in the Bible today? What did you read today? You know, I was like, yeah. And then I was not studying my Bible every day. I was not studying my Bible every day. You know, so having someone who I felt I could be accountable to, you know, and was sort of committed to see me grow, you know, I felt like, oh my God, that's the kind of person I would like to have as a husband, you know, and I was just like already fantasizing. Yeah, even though, I mean, we're just friends, he hadn't said anything about husband or wife or anything, like, no. Or he was, you know, showing me qualities or traits that I would like to have in a husband. So of course, you know, that was attractive for me. I was like, yes, yes, yes. You know, I would like to spend the rest of my life with this kind of man. Of course, who wouldn't? Yeah, so that's number three. That really you know, made me feel I love this guy. Oh, I like this guy at the time. So number four, the fourth thing that attracted me to my husband was the fact that he was ambitious, you know, and he had a sense of direction in terms of what he wanted to become in life. You know, then I mean, now we call him the purpose preacher, but then he wasn't really the purpose preacher. He wasn't clear about his purpose at that time. But he knew that he was someone who was going to be a professor. He had that. He used to call himself the dynamic professor. So, like, you know, in French, that professor, that was how he spelled it. In fact, his email address then was like, you know, he had a dynamic professor there, you know, everything was like, I'm dynamic professor. I was like, ooh, I like that, you know. So I mean, which girl doesn't like a guy who knows where he's going? So that really caught my attention. I was attracted to the fact that this guy knew where he was going. He told me he wanted to become a professor for the age of 35. You know, he told me that that was, I mean, he saw himself teaching in university and things like that. He told me that he saw himself, you know, ministering, preaching the gospel and things like that, you know. So he knew he was going to be called to the ministry, not be a pastor, but, you know, he was sort of ministry inclined. And, you know, I would love to support such a person, you know, because again, I'm someone who loves to serve God. I love God myself. But just the fact that he knew where he was going in life, it wasn't just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. You know, I cannot, you know. So I mean, I could see that he was a leader, and I was willing to follow him. At the time, he was doing his master's, you know, and he was pursuing his PhD, you know, hoping to finish and then pursue his PhD. So I mean, I was really I was happy to hear that, you know. Yeah, so that was the fourth thing that attracted me to my husband. Yeah, and the fifth thing that attracted me to my husband was the fact that he was attractive and he was romantic. And you know, this sounds somehow, you know, but I mean, physical attraction is very important. Even though I hadn't seen him then, but we exchanged pictures, several pictures, you know, video calls, Yahoo Messenger video calls and things like that, and I found him attractive, you know. And I'll be honest, he wasn't like the tall dark and handsome that I had imagined in my head, you know, before I met him. But the fact that everything else sort of, you know, felt that physical attraction for me, and I thought this guy is fine. He's a fine man. Yeah, I mean, I really liked, you know, how he looked. You know, I liked everything I saw about him, you know, in terms of, it was even better when I saw him in flesh, you know. So I was attracted to what he looked like, of course. And he was very romantic, you know. He's the sort of person that he would send emails like I'll wake up in the morning, with emails. Like then you will send emails with beautiful stuff, tell me about. And he used to call me treasure then. Okay, this was much later. This was much later. But my point is, he had qualities. He showed lots of things that showed that this guy is someone who really cares. He's thinking about me. He used to write lots of poems, and I really loved that. I loved that about him. He was intentional about me, about our friendship at the time. So I was attracted to that. So anyways, those are the 5 things that attracted me to my husband. Yeah, but there are other things that actually then solidified it for me, that made me actually say yes, okay, I'm going to be your wife. I'll talk about that some other time. But these things, that we ladies love to love to have, things like, oh, if when you see a man and you're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah. So for me, that was what got me, made me head over heels in love with my husband. Anyways, yeah, so I hope that this was fun to you. And I just want to say that if you're a lady here and you're single, it's okay to have an attraction for a guy. I mean, it's important, not okay, it's important that before you say yes to a guy, it's someone that you're actually attracted to. Physical attraction is key. I'm a child of God, I'm a Christian, I'm born again. God will not lead you to someone that's God not say you marry someone that you have nothing, no physical attraction for. You're gonna struggle in that marriage. That marriage is gonna be stressful. Our marriage is supposed to be enjoyed. You're not supposed to be enduring marriage. So don't feel like you are carnal because you have attraction for a guy. It is important. It must be there. Even though it shouldn't be number one, but at least it should be there. It must be there. All right, this is what I have for you today. 5 things that attracted me to my husband. I hope you liked it, and I hope that you got 1 or 2 things from there. Let me know in the comment section. Until next time that I meet you, I'm Blessing Ekundayo, the confident woman. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.